afternoon. I know probably not many of you are even marginally biblical, although you would say that you were spiritual. So from you to me, and we will talk spiritual. And I want to talk about calling. What is your calling? Because it's something that so many people ask me about. How do you find your calling? And some people think that they will find their passion immediately they start something, or that God will talk to them in a way that they understand that He's talking to them and show them the passion. There's all kinds of ways that people think that they can find the passion. How can I find my calling? Well, from my point of view and the way I have experienced my life, my calling has found me. And with people who have a calling, and that is a passion about what they do, I think that the calling has found them too. I don't think they went out looking for their calling, and that's why it's called a calling. It's called a calling because something calls you. And there it is. I mean, when I started yoga, I didn't ever anticipate it was a job, and I didn't think of it as a job, and I still don't, and I didn't realize what I was doing until I was doing it. I remember precisely when I discovered that what I was doing was something that I probably would do for the rest of my life. But and I would imagine that is what a calling is, but I never anticipated it being a calling, and I never thought about it as a passion. It was just something that I loved to do, and I did at every opportunity that I could. So I got better at it. But I didn't go out looking for it. I just did what I loved to do more and more and more. Given any opportunity to do something, I did what I loved to do. And this is good and it's bad as well, because maybe there were other things I should have paid attention to and I didn't, because I was doing what my calling demanded. Do you understand that? So, from a biblical point of view, I was looking at stories, because stories are how you learn something. And in Samuel, it talks about the boy called Samuel before he was king, before he was famous. And he was working in the temple. His mother wanted to have a baby, and it was years and years and years before she could. And when this baby called Samuel arrived, she dedicated him to the church, and she only saw him one day a year because he was an acolyte, he was in the church. And Samuel got really good at looking after his boss, Eli. Eli was a senior church member, but he was in charge of the synagogue, but he'd kind of gone off the rails. People were having sex in the doorways, and there was stealing happening, and his sons were behaving badly, and he was not interested. He was just going through the motions. Samuel got very good at baking bread and doing other things because that's what he was employed to do. Anyway, the story goes that he was asleep one night, and a voice called to him and said, "Samuel." And obviously it was a voice that he, in a way that he related it to his everyday. It was not a voice coming out of the sky going, "Samuel." No, it was just something that he understood to be an everyday voice. So he went into his master's bedroom, Eli, and he said to Eli, "Yes, Master, I heard you calling." And Eli said, No, I didn't call. Go back to bed." So Eli goes back to bed and he snoozes off. And the voice says, Samuel goes back to bed, and the voice calls out, Samuel. And so Samuel, being dutiful, runs into his master and says, what did you want? And Eli says, go back to bed is what I want. I didn't call you. Go back to bed. Samuel, being a dutiful, he's not a slave, but he's, probably an apprentice kind of thing, goes back to bed, does what he's told, and the voice comes again, Samuel. And so Samuel goes into Eli. At this point, Eli realizes that something special is happening here. And, this is Samuel's transition really from a boy to a man, when he realizes that God is putting the finger on him. God is calling him, and he has to step up to the next stage in his life. But he wasn't out looking for this, and Eli certainly didn't anticipate it. But when you have a calling, it's like that. You don't anticipate it. You've been given a gift, and if you trust that it will arrive, because you can never be happy until you are living that gift. That is what's been given to you. So for the first three times, that he answered the call, he got knocked back. But he didn't give up. He answered the call, got knocked back. Answered the call, knocked back. Answered the call, got knocked back. Right passion, wrong place. He ran to do the thing he was familiar with, which was tending his master. But that's not what the call wanted him to do. So what are you running to? Are you running to a call that's outmoded, that you've outgrown? Are you running to something that's not responding to you anymore? Are you running to something that's done with and over? What are you running to? What makes you happy? What is your soul calling you to do? Samuel was answering a call. It must have been a call in a voice that was a voice he was used to. It wasn't in a biblical kind of Charlton Heston kind of voice. It was just an ordinary voice. And that's why he didn't know where it was coming from, because it was an ordinary voice. And when God talks to me, he talks to me in an ordinary voice. And it might be something that I've just listened to on the telly, and it goes, oh yeah, that was a message for me. Or somebody comes in and tells me something, yes, that was a message for me. Or I'm out in the car and I see something, that was a message for me. The messages come in everyday voices. God has never spoken to me in the loud voice from heaven kind of thing. And if you're waiting for that, you're going to be waiting a long time. The only people that I know that say to me that they have had those voices were people in recovery, but I'm not sure what those voices were, and I'm pretty sure they weren't from God. So with a calling, you've got to make sure that you're running to the right place. What Samuel did after he'd been knocked back 3 times, no, he was running to the wrong place every time, we are told that he went and he lay down again and he said, okay, I'm here for you. What do you want me to do? I'm your man. So have you spent a quiet time saying, okay, what is it you really want me to do? And then obeying the voice. Listening and watching for the coincidences and messages that occur around you. I've always found that the people I associate with are people who will keep me on the path. They will let me know what I'm meant to do next. If I wander off the path, they give me a message. They might know, but they are giving me a message to tell me what is needed. See, right now, you probably just want security. So maybe you're looking in the wrong place for that security. You know, money is not going to give you security. It really isn't. It gives you a kind of security, but you can see it's only temporary and it can be taken away from you in a flash. I'm trying in my various blogs and things to help you understand that you can be more self-sufficient and be more responsible and more reliant on yourself and not be worried about the future, because you can't change it anyway. But when God speaks to you, you will start getting signs. It's like when the kangaroo jumped on my gorgeous little Mitzi the Mazda. I thought that I was going to have that car for the rest of my life, but the kangaroo jumped on it. The couple of weeks prior to the kangaroo jumped on it, I kept on seeing Celica's all the time. And I thought that that was because my teacher drove a Celica and I rather liked them, but I didn't put any importance on it at all. And the kangaroo jumped on my car. And I thought, what am I going to do now? And I rang up the local Toyota dealer and I said, this is what has happened, how can you help me? And he said, well, we've just had a car come in, we've got to do the RACV check and all that kind of thing, but you might like it. I said, oh really, what is it? And they said, it's a Celica. I said, okay, I'll take it, because I felt that it was for me. All for the last 2 weeks I've been getting Celica noises and seeing Celica cars, noticing Celicas. The kangaroo jumps on my car, and then what comes up? A Celica. And it was almost nothing, you know, in terms of what a car cost. Oh, they did a great job for me. So yes, I was meant to have the car. So God is not playing hide and seek with me. He was right there, helping me out of this thing. So the difference between what most people think of as church and what I think of as my church is the difference between rituals and relationship. I don't go to church to have rituals, and I'm not going online now because, you know, I'm not doing the Zoom church because I don't need the ritual. I have the relationship. I don't need the ritual. I go to church to reinforce the relationship and as my part in the relationship, but I don't think Zoom is part of the relationship. I like to go to the church to be physically with a group of people who more or less think spiritually the way that I do. They're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So is God dropping mail into your letterbox, but you're just not at home or you're not answering? I know a lot of you have switched your mind off when I use the word God. You don't like that word God. It brings you out in hives. But it's the only one that we've got to tell us about something that's greater than us. So, with regard to calling, although yoga is my calling, people would say I have different hats, but sometimes I feel like I've got different heads. I do yoga and I do art and I do foraging and I do this and I do that. But it's all responding to this yoga in the everyday. So my calling in yoga is not a crutch. It is a way to work with people and help people. And it's a way that I respond to the gift that I've been given. I had to say really early on, here I am. Just, how do you want me to do this thing? So I've found that people have lost their ability to listen and look. So they want everything in stereophonic sound and something out of the movies. Well, it's not like that at all. The calling is not like that at all. It's the still small voice. It's Samuel lying down and saying, okay, I missed 3 messages. What is it you want? I can do that. I'm here for you. So COVID has given us the opportunity to listen. It's like with my website. I've got a website, Yoga Beautiful, and I got the website. Debbie was here when I got the website, so it's about 8 years ago, 6 or 8 years ago, something like that. And I haven't really updated it or really done anything except blogs and newsletters and occasionally saying to the web builder, help. But it's not going to work unless I work it. So I've left it a long time now, so I've got to make an investment in getting it to work. And God has given me this time, this COVID time, in order to do that. So I've been onto the web and I've looked at other websites and I've done this and I've done that. And now I've said to Step, my web builder, we're going to do this beautifully this time. I've had time to think about it and time to respond. A time to listen. So if you make yourself available, you will discover your calling. You won't discover it running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You won't discover it by crying in a corner. You won't discover it by getting in a temper. You'll discover it by just going about your daily business and looking for signs and wonders and just doing what's in front of you, as the Buddha said. Just do what you can with what you've got, where you are. So you just say, I'm here, I'm listening. I'm ready to do my whatever it is that you want, no matter how ridiculous it might sound. I'm here and I'm ready. How can I help? And when someone walks in the door, that's what I say. When somebody rings up, that's what I say. First thing I say is, hi there, it's Jane. How can I help? Because I really do want to help you in whatever way that I can. And yoga has allowed me to do that, and your calling will allow you to do that, because the highest calling we can have is to serve others. Namaste.